everyone, Mighty Benaya here with an update on the Portuguese tournament. I did not create a video prior to this, so no, you did not miss one. I was on vacation with my lovely wife in Montana when this tournament started, so this is the first video of this tournament that I have posted. I am considering for future games in this tournament to take screenshots throughout and do a one video recap of everything that happened. Let me know if that's something that you'd like to see, but I want to go through what happened in this tournament, some good things that happened for us, some bad things that happened for us. As you can see, I have very few territories. I have 2 territories right now. This little island right here is mine, and this little spot right here was gifted to me, and I'm just hoping that it doesn't revolt at day change. But here's what happened in this tournament. We are facing Blocco de Toro. I apologize if I said that incorrectly. I don't speak Portuguese. But it is a Portuguese tournament that we have been invited to participate in. And the team that we are facing, they got Great Britain, they got Spain, they got Morocco, they got Germany and Austria-Hungary, which left us with Russia, Sweden, Ottomans, Italy, and I was France. I was in the middle of 4 of them, essentially. Austria-Hungary couldn't really get to me that easily, but the other 4 of them could. And so we all knew that France was going to be their pinch, the individual that had to defend against their waves of attacks. And our strategy was pretty simple. We had to pinch 2 nations where they only had to pinch 1. So it was going to be a little bit difficult. Papa Smitty had a little bit of ability to reinforce me, but we knew that they were going to throw a lot at me, at France. And the only question, there was no question of whether or not I would survive. The answer to that is no. The question was, how long could I survive? How long could I delay the inevitable? And I will be the first to admit, I made some pretty big mistakes. I severely underestimated the power of armored cars, and I favored instead cavalry and building up infantry with barracks, and that takes a long time. So something that you need to realize when you're playing, especially in these tournament games, it is only day 7, right? And this is how much the map has changed in day 7, in 7 days. Infantry takes days to generate. Cavalry, you cannot get cavalry churned out until day 3 because it takes 24 hours to build the barracks and it takes 24 hours to build the cavalry, and so you're part way into day 3 by the time you have any cavalry. Cavalry are extremely good at attacking. They are not great at defending because they are glass cannons. They're fragile. They have a huge damage output, but they are risky. They are swingy. Because if you lose a cavalry, you lose a significant portion of your attack power, but they are better against forts. Armored cars, on the other hand, are really tanky. They take a lot of the damage on themselves, and they don't really punch that hard, but you have infantry for that. So what armored cars do, even in attacking scenarios, is they provide extra health to boost your troops. It doesn't provide extra attacking power, but it adds staying power, which is something that they had a lot of. They produced a lot of armored cars, and you can produce 2 armored cars in the time that you can produce 1 cavalry. Now, I produced a lot of balloons, but my balloons didn't really help me that much in defending. So that was my first big mistake. I shouldn't have made balloons. I should have made 1 or 2 balloons. I could see what they were doing, but I knew what they were doing anyways. I should have produced armored cars instead of balloons and cavalry in this scenario. Now, had I been over here where King Bowler was, cavalry is absolutely the option that he needed to take because they are really helping us in the game now, and I'll go through that here in a minute. But where I was, I should have built, I built forts, I should have had more defensive spies, and I should have built armored cars, and I think I could have held for longer, but as it was, by day 4 or 5, they had knocked me out of France. Excuse me. And I only have this island left. I have fought off a couple of attacks on this island, but it's not been a significant attack on my island thus far. As for what is going on right now, what is our plan to deal with? We're down a whole nation, right? Well, we collapsed in on Germany and Austria-Hungary. We've been able to capture Austria-Hungary's capital. And what we've been doing is we've been slowly taking their territories and burning their troops' morale. So they have pulled troops from Morocco, they've pulled troops from Spain, they've pulled troops from Great Britain, and they're, as far as I can tell, pretty weak over here. Obviously, they've got some decent stacks, right? But Great Britain is looking slim on his islands. He pulled everything, and we did launch a couple of attacks on Great Britain, and they failed because he was able to shrug off some of the landings. I actually landed up in here, and as I landed, he produced armored cars, and it looked like he golded, but he didn't. He had just timed it perfectly, so as I landed, he had produced 2 armored cars, and he was ready to go. They made a couple of big mistakes. The first big mistake is they overcommitted. They sent all of their forces against me, which they needed to do, but they didn't save, they attacked recklessly, and they didn't save their troops to counterattack. The other thing that they did, and you need to be aware of this, I turned off my recruitment centers as I left, and they never turned them back on. So they're not regenerating troops from the territories that they've conquered. They're only generating troops from their original territories. Some of them they turned it back on, but some of them they didn't. The other thing that they've done is they have done a lot of force marching. Let me find this stack. Here we go. This stack is nearly depleted, and none of that was due to battle. Most of it wasn't due to battle. It was all due to them force marching all over the place. And you can see their strength is 42.5, and this is a similar size stack, but its attack strength is 114, more than double what this stack is because they force marched. So what we were doing is we were taking small troops and capturing little pieces here and there, and they kept force marching to take them back because it's all about territory for them, and it wasn't about their troops' morale. It is all about morale. If you can out-morale your enemy, you can outproduce your enemy. If you can outproduce your enemy's troops, and you can continue pushing hard, you're going to be able to eventually obtain victory, even if it is a hard-won, slow victory. So as of right now, and I'm going to delay this probably until the end of this game, but as of right now, we are pushing our troops into, oh, there's only one troop there, pushing our troops into Spain, and our goal, I'm going to switch to morale map so that you can see, that's not what I wanted, province morale. So all of this in here is just real bad morale. He's not generating troops well enough, and he's started getting decent morale here, but we're taking away his grain. So that is goal number 1, take away the grain to reduce the morale, push through Bordeaux, and our goal is to start cap sniping them. I am not going to take any caps because I only have 2 provinces to boost my morale, and that's not going to help me. But if Sweden and if Russia and if Ottomans and Italy can take capitals, it reduces the enemy's ability to produce troops, and it increases our ability to produce troops. So we are going to start trying to rip through Spain, reduce his ability to produce armored cars and forts, and that is how we are going to win this game. It looked a little bit scary, but we have been able to keep good pressure on, and that's how you have to do it. Especially when they attack fast, you have to hold for as long as you can and keep pressure up. And as long as you can keep pressure on the enemy and prevent them from settling and fortifying, then you should be able to out-morale them eventually. Now, we made some pretty big errors. They've made some pretty big errors. I think we're going to pull this out. Future games, we're going to have to be a lot tighter on a lot of the things that we're doing. There was a little bit of some loose play in this game, and I knew that the team that we were going against, I was confident that we would be able to pull this out, even though it looked a little bit scary at one point. I was still at that point confident we would be able to pull it out. So I haven't really corrected my team on any of the loose play, but we're going to have to shape up pretty well if we want to continue through this tournament. This is single elimination, so if we lose a game, we're done. I'm excited to continue showing you guys this tournament. Let me know if you have any comments or suggestions, and I would like to know how you would like to see the rest of the games in this tournament. I will probably do one more video on this game, and then what I'll probably do is throughout the game take screenshots and flip through the screenshots to show you the big events that happened and walk you through the game, instead of doing this long freeform in multiple videos. So we'll have a recap of each game at the end of the game so that everybody can see it. That's kind of what I'm thinking of doing, kind of like a battle report. I don't know if you are familiar with battle reports that are done for like tabletop miniature games, but that's kind of the plan that I have for these games going forward, since they are a little bit shorter. That's all I have for now. Soli Deo Gloria, and I'll see you next time. Okay, this is part 2 of the game 1 for the Alliance tournament, specifically the Portuguese tournament that we were involved in. I'm going to splice these 2 videos together so you can see kind of how the whole thing wound up. But this is the final. I obviously didn't do very well because a lot of my territories were captured early on. I did produce 6 cavalry, so interesting to see that I was able to produce that. But here's the final map. So what ended up happening is we were able to completely crush Germany and Austria-Hungary. Austria-Hungary, I feel like, took a little bit longer, but King Bowler and Catnip Trippin and Benjigun were able to swarm. They were able to triple team and absolutely swarm Austria-Hungary and Germany. Because they were able to do that, and we had momentum, the big thing that happened during this game is we took engagements that favored us. So we had a whole lot less casualties per, we had a whole lot higher kill death ratio, right? We had less casualties per kill than they did, and that was mostly because I was on defense. I was able to get a pretty high KDR, but these 3, Benjigun, King Bowler, and Catnip, were able to build significant forces and push into Austria-Hungary and Germany. Germany went down pretty quick, and we left Berlin alone. He was in Berlin for a long time, and he actually went AI in Berlin because he only had 1 territory and he just gave up. We were happy to call the game with Spain and Morocco. They had Spain, they had Morocco, they had Germany, they had Austria-Hungary, and Great Britain. So we were happy to call the game at that point, and they said, no, we will fight to the bitter end, which I can appreciate. I absolutely have been in that position, fight to the end, but at the same time, it's important to understand that there's more to the game than, there's more to a tournament than one game. And because this is a single elimination tournament, I'm probably with them. But what you're doing when you fight to the bitter end in a tournament is you are wearing down your players and you're wearing down your enemy. Especially if you're doing a round robin, you need to just give up when the ghost is there. And that's something that I had to learn. You don't want to fatigue your players. Single elim is a little bit different, but that's just something that I want to put out there for all of you to, kind of think about, because there's more to the tournament than just each individual game. You have to look at it as a whole and understand that, your team may need some time to recuperate because they're paying attention to the game so much. Papa Smitty did push up into France, and I
we were going to try to make landings. He was making landings in Morocco when the game was called. In addition, we were pushing into Spain, and we had already taken out Great Britain. Catnip did a great job of making a landing in Great Britain. One of the things that the Great Britain player did was they sent all of their troops. They sent a huge force to attack me, and they continued sending everything that they had to the front lines, which is fine if you're Spain or Morocco, right? Because it's difficult for us to make landfall without them seeing. But because Great Britain is right here by Sweden, Great Britain was vulnerable to an attack. And so he landed a lot in the north and pushed south. He was able to pretty quickly take out the entirety of the British Isles. And once the British Isles were gone, all of the northern defenses were gone. We were able to consolidate our forces to take out Berlin and to start pushing into Spain. You can see here that Morocco had this province here, and Austria-Hungary had this province here. Austria-Hungary was gifted this province, and Germany was gifted this province. It rebelled, but that was the last bit of territory that they had, and they used those to maintain their armies. But their armies dissipated, and their territories were gone. So they really weren't contributing at all, and we were able to pretty summarily smash through the remaining defenses. As I'm recording this, it is June. Not quite June, but it'll be June in a couple of days. We were going to set up the next tournament game is with Serpentes, the Serpents. And I thought that it was going to be a June game. However, there is another tournament that's taking place, and so the tournament that we're involved with, the Portuguese tournament that we're involved with, is actually taking a break during the month of June. So the next game will be July, and my plan for that, as I mentioned in the earlier segment of this video, I think I'm going to just take screenshots, and at the end I'm going to go through all of them and post it all together so you can see things as they're unraveling, but it's going to be quick, short screenshots so that I don't have to take time to record, and I think I'll be able to present more doing it that way. That's all that I have for now. I'm excited to continue this tournament, and I'm excited to continue watching this game with you, presenting these games to you. Soli Deo Gloria, and I'll see you next time.